earlier before this introduction of the EV vehicles and all. Again, if you see the trend, market trend, especially in India, now we can see many of the vehicle, especially diesel vehicle, they are slowly moving under the EV. The three critical lever which government need to implement, one is the incentive scheme. Still there is a lesser number of the maturity or lesser number of the percentages given under the EV scheme. The second important factor which government need to enable the infrastructure, and for this infrastructure, not only the government, some of the private sector also need to be come across. So increasing number of station, increasing the infrastructure, incentivizing them, incentivizing overall route, that will also help enable more and more people to adopt the EV. And third, and which is very important, that it is a developing a culture within the mindset of the people, that now we need to think about the cost point of view as well as the sustainability point of view. If we build the culture within the people, then definitely it will help to move from the petrol and diesel. I take an example. I come from the city called the Indore. It's in seventh in the row, seventh in the year in the row, we are gotten cleanest city. Why this phenomena has changed? What has basically they changed? So the important thing they change is a mindset of the people. Last month I was in Indore. I wasn't been in a small shop. He has kept in dustbin. In 7 or 8 years ago, it was not a dustbin. People just come, they eat and then they throw. The person was standing there as an watchman. He was saying, sir, you need to throw all your plates in the particular dustbin. So it's a mindset and culture which is a change. So again, from the overall adoption point of view from the EV, I think the more culture building will help to adopt more and more EV, and then it will ultimately help to reduce the overall emissions.
Right. That we can. Coming to the topic, because point is that I just raised this point because how at a company level we procurement leaders can, because we are placing services orders to them and we are using vehicles in the company for our subcontractors also their vehicle. So I have raised this EV points from you, so that how could we either we could give the subsidy or the incentives to our subcontractor so that they could use the electric vehicles in the office, in the plant. At least we have to fix that you have to use this electric vehicle, otherwise we could penalize. So that type of system we could come up with that.
Right. So again, as I mentioned, so this 3.5 years back, I introduced this project with my management, and again, initially it was driven by the more cost. But trust me, after this 3.5 years, the ROI is a much higher compared to my cost. So we have implemented, and we have this year we are showing the complete positive ROI against this project. So whatever you invested, it is giving an advantage. It is giving a cost advantage to you in the near future. So from that point of view or that mindset, you need to set up all this cost structure and all that. Definitely, whatever you will be giving to environment, that definitely will come back in terms of more and more benefits.
Absolutely. But Vishwas could add one point of the logistics sectors. How can we use these vehicles? And use of vehicles, I think we are not on that step that we can use the heavy vehicles with electric. That's not, still we are working on the heavy vehicles who can load these special containers from one place to another place. Could you please add some of the points on the same?
See,
emission from the logistics sector.
So as we were discussing again from a specific ESG point of view, or say carbon emission point of view, still we are at very initial stage when we talk about EV, use of EV into transportation, logistics and all. Probably more or less the e-commerce segment or last mile delivery in logistics is picking up, wherein the distance is more, because today when we talk about EV, it is more on 3-wheeler, 2-wheeler or 4-wheeler, probably Tata Ace and Mahindra, those are coming up. Then it has limitation in terms of the distance traveled versus the weight it carries in terms of the tonnage or the CBM. So that's why more or less if we look at now, the last mile segment is picking up with the EV. But then if we talk about bringing it into a primary transportation or say long haul transportation, still we need to have that infrastructure available, because we were discussing about whether we have those charging points available. Even today, when we look at passenger car segment, as of now, overall, there is a shortage of charging stations. Now, the even government is planning to put up those charging stations with their vicinity, as well as the other industries, even companies like we are doing it, even Capgemini is promoting those particular initiative that for their employees, they will install those charger point and all. But overall, for long haul, EV still is yet to pick up. Even the truck segment in terms of 407 or 32 feet XL and all, those are yet to get operational and demonstrate their efficiency in terms of load carrying capacity and those things. So in terms of material transport, still it is, we can say, a dream that we will start using EV vehicles. It will take time. Government probably is working on that with Gati Shakti and all, but then as of now, it is very much limited to last mile, and that too on a particular segments. So that certainly needs to be further explored with the availability of infrastructure and as well as need of industry. It may not fit to all that go for EV in all the aspects or all the modes of transportation. Maybe instead of that, we need to look at how we effectively use multimodal transport. So whether you have a combination of different modes, or whether you can combine and go for FTL instead of PTL, those aspects needs to be studied based on the data and needs to be executed.
Absolutely right. I think this is a good thing. An entrepreneur can start a special business in the sustainability report. So this is the coming one of the things with the India, because India is still back behind in this sustainability report and the ESG emission. So some entrepreneurs should come in this. So we could align and start. So I coming to Nitin, that Nitin, you are traveling from Pune to this place, and you have faced today morning challenges for that. Many carbon emissions on the way. Could you add how to reduce that?
See, from okay, chalo, let's accept that things are changing.
On a lighter note, so that public is just, audience is just seeing us, lunch is in the front of us.
Things are changing, and slowly we'll find that particular change in the entire business environment as well. So in coming years down the line, we might not face it. But what Vishwas was addressing now at the supplier level, and at this point of juncture, we cannot just very strictly implement the EV to the major suppliers where we are now procuring materials, right? We are taking materials in bulk. Heavy vehicles are coming into the plants to deliver the material. So immediately we cannot switch on from the diesel vehicles to EV. But what we can do, and what I am trying to do, I'll just try to share with all you guys, and you can also do it. Whenever we go and attend such seminars and whenever we attend some meetings in an association, what I try to do is, suppose if I am meeting the developers, few developers in Pune, or if I am trying to have a meeting with few suppliers in a syndicate, then what I try to do is, they know me, and they also know who are my competitors. They also know from where I get the material and who are their competitors as well. So what we try to do is, 4 or 5 guys, we come together and we try to share the load, trucks, and then we bring it and get the containers, so that everybody tries to save some money. Forget about saving some money, but at least we are helping and contributing towards the sustainability, what our government and all of us are trying to do. That we can very well do, and we are not discussing this today. Sharing economy was discussed 2 decades back. So we are just trying to capture some good points from those sharing economies and trying to implement here at the local or micro level by sharing this truckload, so that we get the vehicle.
So yes,
and
Nitin.
then, since I'm associated with Pune Metro, what we did, we are trying to give some incentives to the employees who can travel from their home to the office with EV cycle, then rickshaw, and then metro, back to rickshaw, and then EV, at a very subsidized rates. So that also we are trying to implement, and some of them are, some schemes have already been implemented in Pune Metro.
So this is a complete globalization of this things, what we are thinking about that. Globalization is not only single thing, but we have to work for the many, like earthquake and the things, all the GHG emissions, what's increasing day by day, and which impact our environment, our society. So we all are living into the society, and we have to think that how could we improve this procurement strategy to reduce this carbon emissions from the scope 3, because that is completely cater with the procurement leaders in India as well as global. So Nitin has added that point, but I was just asking him because he was using metro from that location. He told that at least I can save something. So electricity he has used for the metro. So that was the way what we can also use day-to-day routine, not from only for the scope 3. We can at least save from our day-to-day activity, day-to-day movement from one place to another place. Same we can use for office and other purposes. Thanks. I am just concluding all the points for this reduction of this carbon emissions from the scope 3. What I think we all spoke, we all are the leaders who are giving purchase orders for the supply and the service orders for the services. So we are purchasing goods and services where we can define all the suppliers to give us the data. No, we are not going to ask them to reduce the carbon emission. We have to collect the data first. When we got the metric ton of carbon emissions data in our handy, then we could convince each and every suppliers that you have to make this reduction of carbon emission, and parallelly you have to plantation, you have to do the other renewable resources so that you could reduce this, because you are not going to stop the works. We are here to give the more infrastructure, so we have to plan for the second B, that is the reduction of carbon emissions from the procurement team. So we could take the oath and work in this field. Thanks to all audience for listening us, because at the time of lunch, nobody wants to listen more. Come on.
All right, thank you so much to all the panelists and the moderator. I would request Mr. Gaurav Guha, Director of